Have you ever watched the person you love become a stranger right before your eyes? I saw it happen on a Tuesday night, illuminated by the cold blue light of a phone screen. My wife, Sarah, was asleep, her face a perfect mask of innocence. But her phone, lying on the nightstand, buzzed with a name I didn't recognize. It wasn't the name that made my blood run cold. It was the message preview, a single brutal sentence that shattered the world I knew. Last night was incredible. Can't stop thinking about you. My hand trembled as I reached for the phone, a silent scream trapped in my throat. I knew that if I unlocked that screen, nothing would ever be the same again. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For 10 years, Sarah was my everything. We built a life in a quiet suburb of Chicago, a life I thought was perfect. I was a loyal husband, the kind of man who remembered anniversaries and her favorite flowers. But the woman sleeping next to me was a phantom. The strange behavior had started months ago, so subtly I almost missed it. Late nights, she blamed on deadlines at her marketing firm. Vague answers about weekend workshops. Her phone, once left carelessly on the kitchen counter, was now her constant companion, always screened down. When I'd try to hug her, she'd stiffen, a polite but firm wall between us. The discovery was a slow, agonizing bleed. It started with that text. I didn't confront her. Instead, a cold, dark resolve settled in my gut. I started watching. A credit card statement I found in her car's glove box showed a charge for 2 nights at the Peninsula. A luxury hotel on North Michigan Avenue. A weekend she told me she was at a conference in Milwaukee. Then came the phone records. Dozens of calls and hundreds of texts to a single number. A quick search revealed the owner. Mark, a smug, self-satisfied creative director from her office, a man I'd met once at a holiday party and instantly disliked. Sarah became a master of manipulation. When I'd ask about her day, her eyes would be empty, her answers clipped. Work was fine, she'd say, already turning away, her focus on her phone. She made me feel like I was the one going crazy. "Why are you so needy lately?" she'd asked, her voice dripping with annoyance. "You need to get a hobby?" They felt untouchable, her and Mark. I saw a photo on her firm's social media page. The two of them at a gala, standing a little too close, his hand resting possessively on the small of her back. They were laughing, arrogant, and secure in their secret world. The breaking point came one rainy Thursday. I came home early, hoping to surprise her, and found our bedroom empty. A gut feeling led me to her sister, Emily's house. I just wanted to see a friendly face. But when Emily opened the door, her eyes were red and swollen. She pulled me inside, her hands shaking. "I can't do this anymore, John," she sobbed. "It's Sarah. She's not who you think she is. She's been lying to you for a year. She's with him right now. She told me she's in love with him." The words hit me like a physical blow. I stumbled back, the world tilting on its axis. I drove aimlessly for hours, the city lights blurring through my tears. The loyal husband was gone, shattered into a million pieces. In his place, something cold and strategic began to form. My grief turned to ice. The next morning, I hired the best private investigator in Chicago. For 2 months, we gathered everything. Photos of Sarah and Mark entering the Waldorf Astoria, receipts for expensive gifts he bought her, paid for from their shared account, audio recordings of them in a public restaurant, laughing about how clueless I was. "He's just so predictable," I heard my wife say, her voice dripping with contempt. "So safe." The pie even uncovered that Mark was married, a fact Sarah knew and didn't care about. I also met with a shark of a divorce attorney, laying out my plan. We would let her think she was in complete control. The trap was set. I started playing the part of the oblivious, slightly pathetic husband. I suggested a 10th anniversary party, a huge catered affair at a downtown venue, inviting all our friends, family, and, crucially, her entire office, including Mark and his wife. Sarah loved the idea. The thought of being celebrated, of being the center of attention while hiding her secret, appealed to her arrogance. She spent weeks planning it, picking out a stunning, expensive dress. 2 days before the party, I moved all my money into a new, separate account. I canceled her credit cards, filed for divorce, citing adultery, with a mountain of evidence that would leave her with nothing. The night of the party was cinematic. The room was filled with laughter and champagne. Sarah was radiant, moving through the crowd like a queen. Mark was there, his wife on his arm, occasionally shooting Sarah a smug, secret smile. I waited until her father, a man I deeply respected, began his toast. As he finished, I took the microphone. "Thank you all for coming," I began, my voice steady. 10 years is a long time. Long enough to think you know someone completely. I saw a flicker of confusion in Sarah's eyes. Then the large screens on either side of the stage, which had been showing a slideshow of our life together, switched. The first image was a high-resolution photo of Sarah and Mark kissing in a hotel lobby. The room fell silent. The next was a bank statement, showing thousands of dollars spent on gifts for him. Then, another photo, this one of them walking hand-in-hand down Rush Street. I let the images play as I spoke. It turns out my wife Sarah has been celebrating our marriage in her own way. With him, I pointed directly at a stunned Mark, whose wife was now staring at him in horror. "So this isn't an anniversary party," I said, my voice dropping to a cold whisper. "It's a divorce party, and you were all witnesses to the end of her lies." The fallout was total. Sarah stood frozen, her face a mask of disbelief and horror. Her father looked at her with pure disgust. Mark's wife slapped him across the face and stormed out. The room erupted in whispers. Sarah tried to run, but her sister Emily stood in her way, shaking her head with tears in her eyes. The legal battle was a formality. The evidence was irrefutable. She was left with nothing but her shame. I sold the house and moved to a small, quiet apartment overlooking Lake Michigan. Sometimes, late at night, I look out at the dark, churning water and think about that life we built. It feels like a story someone else told me. The revenge wasn't a victory. It was just an ending. The silence in my new life is the loudest sound I've ever heard. The end.